What is going on, my Atomic Autoworks friends? So I know we said that we're going to keep our motorcycle content separate in the future possibly, but for now, we're just going to keep everything together, one place. You can kind of see everything. We work on a lot of cool stuff. Sometimes car guys don't like bikes and bike guys don't like cars, but I do, so this is what we're doing. One of our customers actually customizes these bikes down in Jersey. He has a shop down there. They do some really cool stuff. This is actually an older Road King. So I wanted to kind of show you, and I'm gonna show you like some of the process as we're making the seat and just kind of go through a bunch of stuff because you know what? When it rains, it pours, and we have a lot of things that are backfiring in the shop. We're trying to transition over to our new setup that we're doing and turn everything more into a studio here, but the vehicles are come first, customers come first, and we have to finish this stuff up. With everything going sour, we have our air compressor in this building blew up. I'm actually filming old school here with just a tripod because it's off hours and no one's here to hold the camera for me. So we're gonna have to run to our other building and do some of the grinding on there because the little compressor that we have here is not handling it. And I wanted to show you, so with this seat here, obviously the customer wanted to sit farther back. He's taller, wants to sit down in the bike. Obviously this is all air righted out and it's like slammed right now. So what I'm doing is we already made the seat pan. We already did we're doing the rough foam now, which is what I call it. We have to make this transition so it actually looks good and kind of comes down into the seat. Back in the day, I think it was Danny Gray kind of originated the butt crack seat, and it was cool. It was really neat, and it kind of goes with these bikes. So that's what we're gonna do. So right now I just got to sculpt this seat at the foam. We're gonna bring it next door to grind it, and we'll bring you over there and show you. But point in case, what I wanted to show you is what are the hard parts about what we do and why we're changing our direction is it's really difficult to find people that have experience doing this. If you think about it, you go to a tire shop and they're having a hard time finding someone who could change a tire. We need people to like build cars and motorcycles from scratch, but not even just do it good, do it very well. Like really high end and pay attention to details. What happens is when you're doing stuff, you're learning as you're going. And on this bike, we're showing Rick's actually been stepping up trying to do more of the motorcycle seat pans and fiberglass work and stuff like that. And a lot of stuff you learn by doing. Wanted on this bike, I wanted it to be able to have the body work, actually a body filler around the edge of the seat pan so that it could go really tight up against the actual stretch tank itself. What ends happening is when you tape it off, you actually put tape down. If you watch some of our other videos, we tape off the whole bike like this blue tape. Then we do like a shipping tape and a duct tape and get everything like really tight. But in that process, you build up an edge and sometimes it's hard to go around a sharp edge. And then what I wanted to do is put the body filler around there so it's really tight. Then we could sand it till it's like razor sharp and crisp around that edge and have a nice gap. Unfortunately, the tape was rolled in, so the body filler did the opposite of what I wanted to do. Now we have a huge gap, but it actually worked out on this one because the way this seat goes in, it has to slide underneath this dash panel. If we were to have body worked it really tight with a hard body filler, of course it looks good, but I don't think we'd be able to snake it in there, and it would be too much hard surfaces, you know, touching the stretch tank and the dash insert. So this actually worked out good. We're gonna actually use a sculpting foam. All right, that was a tough juggle walking over here. I think I got a torn meniscus or something like that. So a lot of people have been telling me for the last year I've been limping and I didn't know. And then all of a sudden now I feel the pain. I apologize if any of our cameras movements were like all jerky like that. But we got it over here to the other shop. We're gonna grind it down. I was actually excited. I don't wanna have to grind anything in here and make a mess because the guys, our crew right now are awesome. Keeping, like, not even keeping everything clean. Every day you come to work and it's more organized and cleaner, and we're kind of getting back to the way we used to be. I think as you watch our channel grow, you're gonna start seeing some really cool steps and progressions that we're doing. I hope you like it because we're gonna be doing, even as we go through and set up our shop and do all this different stuff, we're gonna show you us doing that on our vlog style video, which is kind of what this is, even though it is me working on a motorcycle. I wanted to start doing like a couple days a week. We'll do a vlog where you can kind of see the progression, see us working with different companies, growing the company, you know, cleaning it up and all the different stuff that we have to do. And if people used to watch our channel, I used to have a really nice area for grinding the foam, but we got so backed up with work that we had to cut all the tables down and bring all of our upholstery stuff upstairs and even our workbenches and stuff like that because we needed the floor space just to work on cars. And so I'm really excited about slowing things down and going back to the way we were. One thing's funny is we always square these seats up and we make them really boxy. So a lot of people, when they see this, are like, what the heck is this? And then I love the transformation of when it goes from this to what you're about to see. Okay, so I got this close to where I want it to be. I left it probably 16th, 8th low everywhere, maybe a little more, because I want to go through and put a sculpting foam on it so then we could actually sand it, sculpt it, because it's going to be a really tight fit around the nose and also up to the dash piece. And then we want to make it actually look good. Okay, so let me clean up because I don't want the guys to come to work and then see that I made a mess. So we're going to test this now to make sure it looks like we want it to look. Looks a lot better. So one of the things that I've noticed when you sit back here, because of the way the rear fender is, it kind of gets a weird profile. I used to like the seats more kicked up, but the problem is when you're riding them, it actually puts a lot of pressure on your tailbone. Oh, we got a bird inside. Let me sit. Oh, bad knee. So he's a lot taller than I am. So this should work out really good for him. So when you're up on the, when you're sitting back, you got your back support. It's really nice having the bikes low like this. Ooh. The doctor's like, oh, you don't have to bend your knee much where you work, do you? Nah. Okay, so now we're gonna put the white sculpting foam on here, which is gonna be horrible because I have to work on a sawhorse again. But let's do it. Real life, real us. Actually, before we jump on that and I start doing the foam or the sculpting foam, these are the seats and stuff. I love doing like hand-tooled seats. We're doing a seat now for a guy out of New Haven or East Haven, Staven. What we did is we wanted to do some samples for coloring. So I just a quick stamping on here. We went through and showed him the different colors of dye that he wanted. We're actually going to do antiquing gel, which is really cool because when you put it on, you could rub it in really good and get it kind of darker or lighter depending on what you want to do. But it really accents all of the actual stampings and carvings. He doesn't really want any carving on here. And we used a European veg tan leather because it actually is smoother and better. What we do to our cows in the America and US is amazing because it's weird. So the American cows are smaller hides. They're injected with all this, whatever they do. So they have stretch marks all over it, kind of like me. And the hides, when you go to tool them, you actually have all these lines all over it that you'll see all the stretch marks, which is horrible. So the European cows don't have this. And ironically, I think they're grass-fed. I mean, I don't know anymore. This is like what we were told years ago, but they were grass-fed, no barbed wire, free range, so that they don't get scars all over them. And they very rarely have any sort of stretch marks in them. I do notice some of the newer leathers compared to 20 years ago do have some, whereas before they kind of never had any. So maybe they're screwing up their cows like we are. But anyway, I wanted to show you this because this is a step I love doing, but we can't do it a lot because reality sets in. We have to do production work that gets out, that gets the bills paid. That's another reason we're going back to this because I want to show you guys this stuff because this stuff, doing it at your house is fun, awesome. They have so many places. You can go to like Tandy Leather and those places. You could buy all this stuff there. You could actually carve it and do it. And this is like right out of your home. We're going to be doing some videos on this too and having some fun. Back to that seat, which you can't see, but I don't know if people work like this. Although I guess it's good because it goes to show that you could do anything with, we're using a pancake compressor over here. I got our footstool on top of a sawhorse. This is ridiculous. But watch how cool it looks. So I want to test fit it, but I'm going to mark it too because I want to make sure my center lines are good and see how far off this is going to be. And snaps right into place. Actually, you know what? This gap is pretty good right out of the gate. Sand this down a little bit, but for the most part, we're going to keep this. We do have to put an 1/8 inch or 1/4 inch foam on here, so I do need to put a little bit of a gap around here, but it actually is kind of good. Actually, on the left side here has a little bit of a gap, and that's, I think, what we want to do. I do have to lift this here more. You can see there's a gap underneath that. All right, so I'm going to begin hand sculpting this. I'm just using a cheese grater for body work. A lot of guys, you don't see this around much anymore. They used to use them back in the olden days when they did body work. We always had them laying around. So we started using them 20 years ago for doing sculpting the foam, and now they're getting harder to get, but you can get these on Amazon. These are like, I get the rounded ones. Someone must have stepped on this one because it's bent, but they take off a fair amount. And if you hold it flat, you actually level out the seat, which is really nice. So I just added some more foam to the tip of this, and I'm gonna test fit it. This is where the back and forth starts, where you're back on that bike a million times, and you'll hear me say, this is why it's so important to have the motorcycle when you're building a custom seat pan. at the seat shop, because you might have to go back to this thing 100 times back and forth and sculpting and sanding. If you were to ship a seat to us without having this set into the stretch tanks, it's almost impossible to ever match it and have it look good. Then you're gonna have a beautiful bike that has a really crappy looking seat. All right, so now I've been going back and forth, adding foam, adding foam, adding foam. So what I noticed now is, as we're getting there, there's nothing holding the back of this dash pan down. So any foam that's in there really is gonna push it up. So this is the fine tuning part. That takes a while. It's back and forth. There's a lot to it. And then you'll hear me say this all the time. People wonder why custom shops are running behind. It's because you don't know this. There's no way for you to know who built this bike, how they built it, what's gonna fit, what's not gonna fit, and it takes time to do that. So a lot of times you'll schedule a bike in to do a seat and you say normally it takes 12 hours. You know, this one might take 20 hours because of stuff like this. So it's really difficult to do scheduling in a custom aspect. So this is why it's good if you're doing it at your home to know, although I kind of wish I didn't tell you guys this, because now every time you see a bike seat, you're gonna go up there and try to look to see how it fits in that panel. Well, I'm actually glad I did, because you know what? One thing I've noticed in the demise of the custom bike builders, like there used to be tons of bike builders before, the quality level was way higher. There's still guys now that are doing really nice stuff, but as soon as the people started building stuff at their home, I noticed a lot of the quality level has dropped. The only way to know the quality level is to do it over time. And like, you know, if we did a seat and it had a gap, someone's gonna tell me, and then we're gonna fix it. So it's the same thing with you in your garage. It's the first time you're doing this, second time you're doing this, so you learn as you go, and that's the benefits of going to a shop. However, the not benefit is things take way longer than you think. All right, so I think we have it. There's so many things you gotta factor in with this. We got the foam where we want it, but we need a gap, because now we have to put our material on here. We have to put any foams that we're using, like our So foams, on here. And also on the bottom of the seat is gonna get a little bit of a foam. So what I try to do is roll this edge and leave it down about 1/16 to 1/8 of an inch almost, because when the pan comes up a little bit with the material, it's gonna raise it. So that's also gonna push up there. So there's a lot of thinking that goes into this, and you don't wanna be at the last stage putting the seat cover on and then have to pull the whole thing apart and rechange the front of it, or actually instead of pad up the foam or pad up underneath the leather or something like kind of crazy like that.